everyone, welcome back to Hands and Feet Homestead. It's been a while since I posted a video and it's just been a really busy summer. We had a lot of good visits with family and we just got back for our anniversary. We went on a camping trip to the North Cascades National Park. So I'm hoping to get a little slideshow put together to just show you some of the pictures from that. That was really fun. But anyway, so the garden has been kind of on the back burner. It's the first day I've been out here in over a week and I don't even know what's going on out here. So we just got done picking strawberries and we had a lot of everbearing strawberries and those are so good. In the spring, the everbearings start producing strawberries, but they're really little, at least in my experience. They seem to be really little and not a big harvest at the first flush of them. And then the June bearing's ready and those are really good. And then when those are done, then the everbearing starts producing a second flush of strawberries, and they're even big. They're a lot bigger and they're so good, and there's so many of them. So we've been eating those and getting those. And then we also have to pick lots of raspberries. We've been harvesting those like crazy. This is my patch over here, but they are just loaded with berries everywhere. Everywhere. Raspberries are delicious, but they're so small and they take a long time to harvest. So I gotta get to that today. I just wanted to do a quick little garden update and just see what we have going on out here. That's the berries. I have a bunch of my herbs and everything here. I've been harvesting chamomile. I have a lot more to get today. So basically you just pop off these little flowers like that. Take all those and then just I just let them dry in my house in like a strainer or something. Then just once they're all completely dry, just put them in a container and I'll just keep adding to them throughout the summer. So here's the tomato garden. I've had the voles really take out a lot of my tomato plants this year, but luckily I plant a lot of them, so it's not a big deal. But they're starting to ripen. We already harvested some earlier today. Some of the cherry tomatoes are ready. The sun gold, those are really good. But I pruned them up so that I'd have like 3 to 4 vines. So I pruned off the rest of the suckers and I left between 2 and 4 depending, because I wanted to fill up some of this extra space that the voles took out from the tomato plants. So I usually do 2 and that's perfect if they're all filled in, but yeah, I had some casualties. I have some bush beans planted there. Oh, they're starting. Bush beans, they're little babies. All my basil is planted along here. I have 2 rows of celery all along there. And yeah, that's looking good. These are carrots that are planted. I planted late last year and they're all going to seed now. Ooh. Well, I'm having carrot seed go all over the garden. But those are fun. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe I'll save some seed. That was also an onion I planted last year that overwintered, and it's a nice sized bulb. Do you see all these grasshoppers? Do you see that? I walk through this grass. We have crazy grasshoppers. Watch this. It's like I walk and they just jump everywhere. It's like the floor is crawling. Okay. Anyways, I'll talk about that in a minute. We've had a lot of grasshopper damage to my raspberry plants that I transplanted over there. They're still fine and alive, but they were looking beautiful, and then the grasshoppers came and there's holes all over the leaves and everything, but they'll be okay. But this is a potato patch. Those are looking good. I went and hilled them a while back, and I should probably do it again. Just pick up some dirt from the pathways and put it on top. So the ones on the end were the ones that I planted with the long roots on it, that the eyes just like kind of went crazy. So all on the end I planted those, and those all came up and were great. So you can plant them with the long eyes on it, no problem. Here's my onions. They're looking a little pitiful. Those are the ones I started from seed that I killed about 3 times over. I planted them anyways. But these are the sets that I planted, and those are so much better looking. So we'll see. We'll see if those catch up or not. But they'll probably be on the smaller side. All the cilantro went to flower. And we're going to make a fresh cut flower arrangement with our bloomed flowers. And these look really pretty in the bouquet too. It's kind of like a baby's breath. Everbearing strawberries, we just got done harvesting all of those. And then this is my calendula and peppers, which I need to pull off all the dead heads off of these calendula so that they continue to bloom. I'm really behind on so many things, but yeah, pepper plants. Oh, I got my first bell pepper growing. That's exciting. Plants are still looking pretty small, but that one's fitting there. Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, look, I think this is a serrano. Yeah. I got a serrano pepper on there. Yes, I definitely... Oh, there's another one. Maybe banana pepper? I don't know. So yeah, I put peppers and calendula all together. I have to do some work in there. Let's see what else. All my lettuce bolted. We were getting some really good salads. We had a lot of that, but they all went to seed. So I'll just let it reseed itself. All this reseeded from last year, and I'll just do that again. We'll have a nice harvest from that. These are the June bearing strawberries that are all done. Some volunteer potatoes here. I had some more bush beans I planted. They're flowering. Those should be starting pretty soon. Oh, this is a volunteer. Oh, look at that. Volunteer, what's it called? Volunteer ground cherry. So I forgot to start some, or I didn't have the seeds to start it until it was too late. And the ground cherries are so yummy. The girls really, really love them. They kind of taste like pineapple, and they reseed like crazy all over the garden. And they looked like they were doing really good, so I just left them. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see if they will get big enough to harvest anything. And I think they are. Look at all that. So that's exciting. I'm gonna just let it reseed itself every year and not have to start it early then. Because I know regular tomatoes, you won't get much of a harvest if you do that, but tomatillos are here. I had this whole thing filled with tomatillos and the voles took them out. There's a few left. And then there's also some that reseeded itself, and I left all the really big ones in. Oh, let me see. These grasshoppers are crazy.
Wow! It's Santa! Come over here, Mom! Look it.
Oh, it's a big one. Pick it out. Oh, that's a good one.
That's funny.
All right, you can get one for Selah, maybe?
This one?
You gotta go wash them off. You can go wash them off in the water over there.
These look like feet.
They do look like feet.
They look like chicken feet.
Like chicken feet, yeah.
Look, there's like...
Over here are the tomatillos that reseeded itself from last year. And they got kind of a head start, so I left all the really big looking ones in to just see how they would do. But this one was huge, and it started a little early because you can see the roots are underneath the black tarp here, so it got a little early start. And you can see all the little tomatillos are starting to form on there, so I really think I'm gonna get a harvest from this, and I didn't have to start it early, like under lights. So if that works out, we'll see, and I'll just let this reseed itself and not have to worry about starting that early when I start my tomatoes, and that would be really nice to free up some space and save some time, because I don't really care about harvesting tomatillos until the very end of the season when I'm going to make a big batch of salsa or something. So that was a cool experiment, and that one looks bigger and more robust than any of the ones that I started early, because it just grew naturally outside, and I mean, that's what plants like. If they can do that, they'll be the most happy, it seems. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We had all our snap peas on there. Those are all done. They're all yellowing and going to seed now. It's getting too hot. It's been 90s and 100 degrees. Today is going to be another 100-degree day. So we're going to try to finish up out here before it gets too hot. But cucumbers. Oh, look. Look, Hannah. We have our first cucumbers. Oh my goodness, look at all these. We left for our camping trip and we have all these cucumbers started. I didn't even know. All right, well, we got to go out and pick those. Oh, cool. These are, I think, all the pickling ones. I grew different types and I don't have the labels here anymore. I don't know where they went. But cool. Those look good. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. Yay! Oh, I love cucumbers. That's exciting. Oh, another one. It's a different. No prickles on that one. Might be muncher. I don't remember. Okay, so we got cucumbers to harvest. We got to pull those off so they want to keep producing. And all these flowers right here, these are the radishes I let go to seed. And they're going to start forming little seed pods. And I'll save those seeds to plant for next year. Or this fall. Depending, probably for next year. I also had, I didn't mention. In the potato bed in the middle row I did shelling peas. And those are so good. And the kids love them. It's like entertaining for them and delicious to eat. They're sweet and yummy. And they love trying to like open the shells, but they're all done as you can see. So I'm gonna let them go to seed and save a bunch of those to plant next year. Even though I have a whole bunch I still have saved from last year. I did not plant nearly all of them. So beets are, we have some beets here. These are the carrots. I planted a few different varieties and this is the most carrots I've ever planted and I'm really excited. These are the leeks. They're doing really good. And my zinnias are blooming. We're gonna harvest some flowers to make a bouquet with some zinnias, and the sunflowers are all blooming. My whole row back there is starting to bloom right now. I have all my brassicas over here. I have all my kale. Here's all the kale. I had a couple heads of broccoli and it looked really good, and then we went out on our camping trip and I never harvested it, so it went to flower. But it produces little side shoots of broccoli, so we can have little broccoli harvests. And it'll usually go for a while until fall, sending out little side shoots. And this one, oh, well, yeah, it's starting to flower. And it's not a very big head either, but anyway, there's all the kale, Swiss chard. My cabbages are starting to head. This one seems like it's about ready. That's the red, one of the red ones. I don't remember what variety it is. Red Express or Red Acre. That should be what that is. This is more of those ground cherries that reseeded from last year. But yeah, and the green ones take longer to head up, so, but they're starting. The garden over here, this has all the corn. It's our sweet corn. I'm doing, it's a hybrid, it's Allure. And it was really good last year from what we got. I didn't get a whole lot of heads of corn, but I think it was because I didn't have them clumped together well enough last year. So I'm trying to have them have more plants planted closer together to see if that helps with that. And if it's not the greatest harvest, then I will change varieties. But it was a really tasty corn for the ones that we got. This is amaranth. This is Elena's Rojo. I like to grow that every year. It's really pretty for one. And it's a good companion for the corn and sunflowers. And you can eat the seeds that it produces, amaranth seeds. You can also feed them to your chickens. So I had some reseed over by my house, actually not in the garden, but by my house, because I had all the amaranth bundles over there that had dried seed on it, and it just replanted itself, which I was happy about because I didn't start any. So I transplanted them over here the other day. But I have my, gotta get that one off. We have our summer squash, that one's getting big. Gotta get that off of there. We have our pumpkins, those are looking good. I'm excited about these ones. This is the Long Island cheese. Let's see, we'll have it go that way. Let's see, any sign of a pumpkin? Not yet. We have some flowers going, but hopefully we'll get some pumpkins started. But Long Island cheese is supposed to be a really good variety. Oh, we got a little pumpkin started here. Which one's this one? This is a winter luxury. Yeah, so we have one started there. Oh, and another one. It's winter luxury too. Those are the loofah gourd, which looks like it's doing a whole bunch of nothing, unless it's just a smaller plant in general. I don't know. Both of them are like that. First time I've planted those. Oh, my sweet potatoes. We put these out here because we went out of town and I didn't have irrigation set up for them in the greenhouse, but they need a lot of water. We just had this drip line over it, but they're still alive so far, but they need water desperately. But these are sweet potatoes. They're a vine. Oh man, they're attaching to my plant over here. First year I've grown them successfully. I start slips every year, and that's no problem. I can do that just fine, but every time I plant them out in the garden, they just die. They don't take. So this year I planted 3 slips in this big bucket, and I had them in my greenhouse over there, and they just love the heat. They hate cold weather, which our overnight lows get into the 40s very regularly, especially early in the season, and they just don't like that. So that's why I think I've been having trouble, but this year they are actually growing and vining and taking off. So if that works really well and I get sweet potatoes, I'm gonna fill up all my buckets like that, plant all my sweet potatoes in there next year. So I'm really excited about that. That's a new thing for me this year. That's my horseradish. The teepee trellis had snap peas on it, which are done, and now I have scarlet runner pole beans coming up after that. Yep, and just more corn and amaranth, and lots of raspberries that I need to harvest in here. Look at that. Oh man. Wow, they're good. And then I always do a row of sunflowers along the back north end of the garden. I planted pole beans. So that's what this vine is, climbing up the sunflowers here. So I have pole beans climbing up all the poles here. So I have 4 tomato plants in my greenhouse. Kids already came and picked off the ripe ones today, but I have them growing up strings. My garlic. Such a sad story. I totally let them die in here. They were looking so good. And we didn't have any irrigation in here, and it gets so hot. And I was hand watering, but I just failed. I didn't hand water them enough. So I still need to dig them out. I bet they'll still be usable garlic, I'm sure. But they're probably going to be pretty small. Yeah. They're going to be really small. That's disappointing. They were looking so good too. Oh well. So normally my garlic gets killed by all the voles. And then I always end up with garlic, and they're good. They're a good size. But I just don't have very many of them because the voles eat them. So this year I put them in the raised bed with the hardware cloth, but I didn't have irrigation until the other day we put it in, finally, but they just didn't get enough water in here. And as you can see, they dried all up before they got mature. So that's unfortunate. But we'll dig them up and see what we get. These need water so bad. Everything is just dying. I've not been paying attention to it because we were out of town. But I started all these starts early for fall, like some more broccoli and cabbage and some Brussels sprouts. So hopefully these are salvageable. They look alive still. I just gotta get them some water. So these are my raspberries that I planted. This past spring I transplanted a bunch from my regular garden over there, and they're all alive and doing okay, but I don't know if you can see this when I'm walking. Look at all these grasshoppers flying everywhere. So they have come and they have just eaten the leaves like crazy. You see that? They did some serious damage to these leaves. So, oh, another note. I mean, they'll be fine, and next year we'll have new canes with new leaves, and it'll be okay. But side note, these ones. So I did an experiment and left some canes full. I didn't cut them, and then some of them I cut, or most of them I cut. But the ones that I didn't cut, they were looking really good, and they all had berries on it in the beginning. But maybe the grasshoppers got to them. I'm not sure, but those ones don't look good. But the ones I did chop, those ones all look good. So in the future, I will always chop them. That was an experiment I wanted to see for myself. They always say to chop them and whatnot. I mean, we did get berries this year, but they just don't look very good this year because they're still getting established, and the grasshoppers just came and killed them. So what I've noticed about grasshoppers is they just go crazy when it gets dry, and we get such dry, we have very little humidity here, like no humidity here. It's a very dry climate where I live. And so everything, the ground just gets just so dried out. So when that happens, when there's no moisture left, that's when all the grasshoppers come in. You walk through the field and it's just the ground is just hopping. So next year we are planning to get some sprinklers going in here, and we want this all to be irrigated, and so it'll have a nice green, lush, more hydrated surrounding area. So hopefully we won't have the grasshoppers eat the leaves off of these raspberry plants as easily, because the ones in the garden are fully established. They've been there for like 6 or 7 years, and I don't have any grasshopper issues on there, probably because it's surrounded by watered plants and live things. So but yeah, that's just a little side note, but definitely the raspberries definitely took, and they'll be fine next year. As long as we can get the grasshoppers under control, we'll get a good harvest off of those next year. But that's it for the garden update. I'm just gonna go ahead and harvest a few more things. I'm gonna get a nice bouquet of flowers. That's one of my, it's kind of silly, but one of my favorite things about the garden is the flowers, actually. I love eating the food, of course, but I don't know, having fresh flowers from the garden inside makes me happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a bouquet together and harvest some of that chamomile, get our cucumbers, and I gotta get those raspberries going. There's no way I'm gonna get them all, but I'll get started. So other than that, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for coming along on this little update of the garden. I hope to be making a few more videos coming up a little more regularly. I got a little behind with things. It's been pretty busy. So, but thanks for joining me, and we will see you on the next video. Take care and God bless.